Welcome, everybody. I hope everybody got a good lunch and a little bit of caffeine so you're ready for this afternoon. We spent a lot of time yesterday and again today talking about innovation, talking about data. We talked about the marriage between data gathering in agriculture and food productivity. And we're going to switch now to a topic that is extremely important in the mining industry, teleoperations. And with me to do that are three people well known in the field. So I'd like to invite to the stage Elton Santos of Fidenz, Ryan Sigelko of Hardline, and Rodrigo Couto of Hexagon, president of Hexagon Latin America. Did I get that right, Rodrigo?
You get perfectly. Surprise me. We start really well.
All right, so Ryan, let's start with you. Can you tell us about the work that you're doing at Hardline?
Sure. So at Hardline, we specialize in remote control, tele-remote control of any type of heavy equipment. So what we do is provide an aftermarket solution where we can take any vehicle and put remote control technology on it and then operate it remotely from a distance. It adds a layer of safety where there's areas where we can't put people in. They're not allowed to get into these areas because they're unsafe for people. We can still run the machine, but remotely, and still get the job done safely.
So can you give us a sense of how automation is improving things, making it safer? Are there examples where companies are realizing in real time positive impacts to their bottom line, improving safety?
Absolutely. So what we're seeing a lot of the time is by remotely controlling machines, we're seeing some areas where some of our customers are losing a lot of time in things like shift changes. So there might be times when, especially in underground mining, which is a big market for us, where people will come out of the mine and then there's a delay between people going back in. So in that time, it could be upwards of 2 to 3 hours sometimes, where they can still be productive. So 2 to 3 hours, twice a day, 4 to 6 hours of increased productivity. Every shift is a huge impact on profitability.
So Elton, let me move to you. When we think about safety, what are some of the biggest causes of safety accidents?
When we use technology, we have implemented in our operation some device that can help us to avoid some accidents. And this is so important for us because the trucks and the equipments in general, each time they are increasing the size, and the training and the people is so complicated because you have many operations in the remote area, in the middle of the rainforest, for example. So it's difficult to train the guys, and it's important these solutions to avoid accidents, and it's more safe for us.
So can you comment on challenges you face implementing these new solutions in the mine? Elton.
Sorry?
Can we stick with you for a minute? I was just going to ask, can you comment on challenges that you see workers facing when you implement these new technologies?
Yeah. We have in our operations some issues that we see that in the past, a few years ago, about the ergonomic problems, because the logistics is so complicated to take parts, equipments, and people to there. And in the future, in a few years, we think that it will be hard to get workforce to put in this place to work. So the teleoperation is the nice solution, or autonomous. It depends on the kind of project that we are doing. But it's so a nice solution, is the perfect solution for these issues that we have.
Thank you. So Rodrigo, can you describe for us the collaboration between Hexagon, Hardline, and Scania?
Oh, it's a very good partnership that you are building. In fact, we are really talk about the customer centricity in action. We receive a demand from our clients that meets to our purpose to deliver something that's going to be disruptive. In the worst case scenario, it's going to generate a positive impact for our clients. Being objective in this, in your question, risk areas in Brazil like tailing dams, decommissioning areas, cannot have people working. So it's a governmental requirement to allow the mines to operate. In addition to that, it must be safe and productive, and for that, we must bring clever people to achieve this outcome. It was the reason that we partnered with Hardline, who is going to deliver all the teleoperate solution. Scania, I think the Scania guy should be here somewhere. The Scania that has the best performance in trucks in this kind of environment by far, and someone that really dirted their boots to operate these equipment that is feeding. I think that's the perfect match to attend something real that is going to be the expectation of our clients.
So Ryan and Rodrigo, I'll ask this, and either of you can answer. You know, one of the things that I found is really important when you're working with businesses, trying to help them, is to listen to them with the intent to understand. Understand what are the problems that they're experiencing on their site at their location, and then working with them to tailor a solution rather than simply trying to sell them something off the shelf. So can you comment about that, sort of your strategy and how you do that so that you make sure your clients are benefiting from your expertise and what you can innovate and deliver?
But don't go in details, because it's a good question, because we start to work together, Hardline and Hexagon, for a while, and all the time I call Ryan, we have an opportunity. He said, Jesus Christ, code again. But long story short, we already have 8 kits, teleoperate kits that we're going to supply to Brazil, but the key was exactly that. We listen our clients. We care about their business. We intend to deliver something that's going to be meaningful to them. In order to do so, we understand their capability, their needs, their requirements, the governmental requirements like that, and we talk together to deliver something that's going to be feasible. And our clients, they like to see for suppliers like us that we don't sell off-the-shelf solution, we sell trust. When you sell trust, we balance yeses and nos, and they will be committed with us. I think that's pretty much what we have been doing, Ryan.
Yeah,
and do you build that trust while sipping fine Brazilian coffee?
Always.
Ryan, you want to comment?
Sure, yeah, and it's important to know to what level of readiness is there in the market as well. And many times, remote control might be enough for the application. Other times, tele-remote control is the right tool to do the job. Other times, automation is required and going to that level. But it's important to know the needs of the clients and what they're actually going to be doing with the equipment on a day in and day out basis to understand to what level of first of all, readiness of the customer, readiness of ourselves and the technology, and then ultimately the readiness of the application as a whole, to make sure that the project is a success at the end of the day, which is the customer getting what they were looking for originally and get the job done.
So Elton, is there resistance among people at mine sites to implement these changes?
Yeah, nowadays we are trying to do that. Fields is a pioneer company that wants to work with in the state of the art in our operations. And we saw that in some cases is not a nice thing to do. But Feelings has a commitment to use this technology, and we are here because of that. And from here, we are going to Sudbury in the Hardline headquarters to see the teleoperation working. It's because this is our target for the next years and immediately, if it's possible.
So Rodrigo, thinking about your position as president of Latin America, Latin America has an incredibly rich variance of cultures among all countries, and even within countries, there are unique aspects of culture in a country like Brazil, in a country such as Chile, Ecuador, Honduras. Can you comment on how you approach your job, thinking through that lens of understanding your clients and the culture from which they come?
Well, it's a very good. We are talking about 21 countries in pretty much 2 continents. It's challenge. But I used to say to my team that right now we have more than 500 people. Never try to be the smarter guy in the table. If you have this position, you are close to understand the real needs and what we can really deliver to the clients. I think that is my first assumption. Be ready to listen and not try to be the clever one, never, because in fact we are not. The other thing is respect the local culture. Don't pretend to be what you are not. If you are American, going to Chile, don't try to play like a Latino because it's not going to work. In the same thing, if you are a Brazilian and we have some kind of behavior that could embarrass someone else, Brazilians know what I'm talking about. Don't try to respect the local culture. Try to understand better their expectation, their ambition, how to do business in this region. I think that it's challenging, but it's a learning process. It's a learning process. Each client has different expectation, has different kind of understanding. Our effort, and everybody should try to understand them well.
You know, it makes me
We
think
talk about it, right?
there's a country song about everything, and there is one called Always Be Humble and Kind. So I think that's excellent. Ryan, do you want to comment on that?
Sure, yeah. So we also work in all kinds of countries and all over the world, and LATAM is a large part of our business as well. And it's important to know also that there's different expectations in different regions as well. There's different skill sets, there's different cultures like you mentioned. So understanding, again, how the technology can be used in that and how it'll be not only installed and completed, but also maintained, and the training, and to turn it into a longer term project where it'll be a success for everyone, where the customer understands how to use the technology, what to do with it. But as we go in through various regions, the way that people use it could be completely different. Yeah. So what works in Canada and what works in Australia and what works in LATAM could be something different. So it's important to understand the use case, the comfort levels, and then pick the right fit with the customer.
Yeah, if I can add something,
Please.
that is really important. Everything that's pretty much common in all Latin America, they don't buy goods, just buy goods. They buy all the package. They buy the service. How can do the on-site support? How can we respond to the service level SLA? So it's really important that they can buy from someone who understands their business and is going to be committed with their timeline in the time zone as well. We must be responsive.
So Elton, one of the things I know as a father, and you shared that you're the father, and down here at the end, Rodrigo, the father of 3 children.
Yeah.
And we know that when we raise children, we expect them to have failures. And with every failure, you become better if you learn from the failure. Could you share with us an example from your experience about something that didn't work the way you wanted it to work or the way you thought it was going to work, and how that allowed you to then improve and succeed?
Are you talking about in a professional?
Well,
You can take it.
one of his sons is a professional soccer player, so that's a success. Football, the real football.
Oh, in my experience, I think that the more difficult is to the relationship with the people, because each person has your dreams and your manner of the act, and sometimes is difficult to get everybody to go in the same direction. So you have to have a better way to convince everybody to work together in the same direction to achieve the goals. But we have many experience in our professional life that something is not go in the right way. And we have a project in the south of the country. We are doing a dam. We are building a dam. And we got a problem with the quality of the products. And we, in this case, we had a big problem to correct the damage that we caused in our project because of that. But we did, and we got to achieve our goal in that project specifically.
And that's one of the big concerns that society has, right? Whenever there is a failure at a tailings facility, that's what makes the news. And that sort of plants the seed for society that they think that's the norm. But the reality is you're working on site to improve all aspects of safety, to reduce the risk of a disaster to as close to zero as possible.
Exactly.
So Ryan, what makes your approach attractive to a client?
So our approach is to very much enable the customers to achieve their goals with what they've already been committed to. So, for instance, many of our customers have large fleets of equipment that are not brand new, that are on in age, that are not in the best of repair sometimes. But that's what they're using, and that's what is getting the job done. And unfortunately, technology isn't available in many places for that type of equipment. So that's what makes our approach good for our customers, is that we will work with them and actually use their equipment and get them to their needs or to their goals, but without having to spend massive amounts of capital to replace everything or start over. Because they've already committed, they already have a large financial commitment into this to completely overhaul. Just to use a little bit of technology is really hard. So that's what makes it really good for our customers. And a lot of times what we see is it makes possible adding teleoperation or adding autonomy where it would never be feasible otherwise. And that further reduces the risk, further improves safety, and then a lot of the times we can get efficiency gains without the upfront CapEx.
So, Rodrigo, as president of Hexagon Latin America, you must meet a lot of people and you must hear a lot of pitches, a lot of ideas that people think are good. What's your strategy as you think through the next 3, 4, 5 years and you're trying to predict what our company's going to need or want that they may not right now know they need or want? Mm-hmm. What do you use to sort of to identify what you think will work well, and so you're going to put your revenues there, and you're going to bring in partners like Hard Rock, Separate those from the ideas that maybe you're not confident in.
Good question. I'm going to tell you all my secret right now. But
your crystal ball.
Yeah, the crystal ball. But we talked before, we have a process that we follow that is our go-to-market strategy. Before to come up with a brilliant idea to predict something in the future, we talk with who really matters. I stop my year in November. All my revenue must be done in November, because November, December, I start to visit all my clients. I talk with CEO, I talk with key operations, and I try to understand some trends, some expectations, and I can set up our go-to-market strategy. Once again, listen what they are expecting. And the other thing that I might highlight specific about this business here, that is a governmental constraints that we cannot have people work in the risky areas. It's a niche that must be explored. First reason, because they have allocated 4.2 billion only in Brazil for that. It's a good landscape to surf. And I just see that it's just the beginning of the journey. Because as soon as you have this risky area teleoperating, we can integrate with our collision avoid system to protect all the equipments nearby and all the total monitoring that you already have with geotechnical and geological people. So, and it's, in fact, it's going to come back for the preview presentation that we talk. It's going to generate much more attractiveness for the young people, because they don't want to stay in a site. They do prefer to stay in a good town with good education, and they can operate everything remotely. So I do believe in smart monitoring centers, for not only for hardline and teleoperate things, but everything related to operation. We can do it remotely in a clever way, in a safe way. So it's something that I see in the future.
So as you look forward to the next 10 years, when metal production will increase significantly, and we'll see countries, certainly Brazil, will continue to play a globally critical role in advancing the green energy revolution. You're optimistic that you'll be able to hire the talent that you need, you'll be able to build the operations safely through remote autonomous teleoperations, and you'll do that without risking the environment.
Exactly that. I'm really optimistic on that. It motivates, and my team is an hexagon team. Everybody's targeted that. I see a brilliant future to our company, to all the society, when we put technology that make positive impact in the life of the people. It's something that moves us.
And Elton and Ryan, each of you 20 plus years experience in the industry, optimistic?
Do you think so? That's going to work?
As I told you minutes ago, for us, this is the solution for the future. We have these kind of issues that I said, like remote operations, like in remote places, remote locals, and in few years, in Brazil, will be difficult to get people to work in this place, because our operations, all of them is in the remote places, remote locals. So I think that is the future. And then we have another situation, this is an agronomic situation, because in our operations we have reaping operations in bauxite, for example. It's the sole vibration inside the equipment. So we got many productive decreased because of that. So for us, it's so important to have this technology to go ahead in the future.
Yeah.
Ryan?
And yeah, we're very optimistic. So like Elton said, one of the challenges that we see that we face as a culture now is the labor shortage, which we've spoken about a couple times already today, where there's such a shortage, and even more than that, the mines that we're building now are not in urban centers. They're not in places that people really want to be in. They're remote, they're far, they're deep, there's challenges surrounding that. And to try to attract talent to the workforce, being that things are in flux and things are in a state of change right now across the world, or we have been in this state of change for the last several years, we see remote operations as just enabling a massive way to attract that talent. These are interesting jobs with interesting opportunities and interesting technology and interesting companies that use them and good places to work that provide good life for employees. So providing that, I think, is going to be a huge way to attract that talent to the workplace, which of course, that's why we're so optimistic that we know that our technology has a large need in the marketplace that we can fill.
So Hardline has a bright future.
Yeah.
With
Well,
Hexagon.
And Hexagon,
And Fidenz.
obviously Hexagon. and Fidenz. So, gentlemen, I really thank the three of you for joining us this afternoon and talking about this. It's certainly on the front of everybody's mind when we think about mining and safety and creating the workplace for future talent to enjoy. So thank you all very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.